Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Amazon Suspension Trends. I'm Chris McCabe with e-commerce Chris. Had a lot of comments from sellers about the financial squeeze they're feeling from fees and from different policy changes for reimbursement of lost or stranded inventory. Ad costs are always skyrocketing. How are you supposed to compete, keep your business afloat in today's Amazon? And then beyond that, tariffs coming in, increasing costs from importing products overseas if you have items manufactured in China, for example. I, of course, work on suspensions and reinstatement appeals all the time, among other things here at e-commerce Chris, but I'm trying to encourage sellers to get better diagnosis in place when your ASIN's taken down. Don't guess at what they want for an appeal. Try to put into place maybe a fact-finding or fact-checking process where you get the topic and the type of appeal they want correct the first time, instead of guessing 3 times and then finding out from an Amazon account health rep, or even if you have an account health manager you're paying for, or a catalog team member or an escalation team member, that you got it wrong on your first few appeals. Have some due diligence in place. Whether or not you have to ask somebody like me, you can do it internally with your own staff, but have that in place to diagnose what went wrong and what type of appeal is expected before you even begin submission. I still see sellers burning appeals, wasting submissions, sending in completely off-topic material just so that they can maybe get closer to the target on their second, third, or fourth appeal. As you know, Amazon often doesn't read the appeals you send in. You're creating more confusion, misdirection, you're lengthening the suspension, and you're making it more likely that they're going to reject a subsequent appeal if they're confused about what they did to suspend your listing in the first place based on what they read in your appeal. 2 people, 2 sides talking past each other rarely works out until the 7th, 8th, or 9th appeal. You're losing all the revenue on that ASIN. In the meantime, if your whole account is shut down, you might be risking reinstatement ever at all, or you're just losing the money, all the revenue going down the toilet for that entire time you're suspended, right? The tariffs, that situation, that's something you can't control. What you can control is getting appeals right earlier in the process. If your appeals are getting rejected, you can do some research. It's not always perfect or fantastic in terms of the info you get back from Amazon, but you can at least attempt to do some quality research into why your appeals were denied. Again, whether that's talking to account health reps based in the United States, definitely not anywhere else, talking to your SAS core rep that you're paying every month for, talking to people like us who talk to these teams and deal with them sometimes in in-person meetings in Seattle, or just deal with the appeals process and the escalation process all the time. You're going to have a better chance of getting it right earlier, which is going to save you that money that you might need for your ad costs, or to replace some of the money that you don't get when you do reimbursement claims for lost and stranded inventory, or the many other fees or non-fee fees that might be coming at you when Amazon changes its mind or decides to throw a new curveball and a wrench into your operations and your process. If you can resolve account level or ASIN level problems quicker, then you're maintaining your sales rank, right? You're not losing as much searchability in sales rank because it took you so long to appeal properly. You're not wasting your own internal staff time scrambling, trying to figure out what to do, calling around different, whether it's service providers or different Amazon teams. A lot of your labor power is going in a direction where it might be a complete waste of time. Also, the amount of time you spend writing the appeal. If you're just using a template, you're probably just expecting it to fail anyway, because templates are recognized almost instantly from Amazon and thrown away. But consider the time you spend writing a real appeal, and it might not even be read, right? You might be on an escalation-only path from the get-go. If you appeal through Seller Central and then send in an appeal from your primary email on the account, if it's getting rejected and you can't get real answers on why it's being rejected, you might find yourself escalating it just to find out what the heck they're looking for. And then you may only have a few cracks at that. Don't waste these appeals. Don't burn bridges. Don't experiment. You have much less margin for error in the appeals process now than you did back in, let's say, 2023 or 2022. Amazon is experimenting with AI. They're not necessarily sweeping behind their investigators to make sure that quality assurance is top notch. It looks like a lot of these teams are operating in a vacuum without any real fear that they will face scrutiny or reprisals for doing poor work or for doing no work when you send in an appeal. That burden all shifts onto your shoulders. That means you have to be 10 times better and more solid in the quality of the appeal that you send in and the quality of your assessment before you even consider making any submissions. I know that's a lot of info to digest. Let me know at e-commerce Chris, we can answer your questions.